welcome to episode 11 of Tales from the Bargain Bin. I'm Bill Tucker, and I have with me a very, very special guest. He is the owner of comicbookvideogames.com and the author of the Avengers in Video Games, available wherever you buy your favorite printed or digital book medium. Mr. Blair Farrell, what's going on, man?
Not much. It's kind of humbling to be called a special guest.
Yes, you are a special guest. Yeah, man. I've done a few episodes with you on games my mom found, and we've had some fun there talking about good-ish movies, maybe some good, some bad. And it's cool to have you on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to be on. We kind of talked about recording. Like, I'm kind of new to the show, but like I look forward to listening every week.
Right on, man. Well, thank you. And this should hopefully be the easiest thing you do today. Like, this should not be a big challenge whatsoever. So let's just jump into it. So tonight, or today, we're recording in the morning. So this morning, we are discussing Sub-Zero. No, sorry, I mess this up all the time. Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero. Blair, this was your pick. Why did you select this game?
Well, yeah, I was just kind of catching up in the last couple of episodes and like this, and unfortunately James Bond Jr. was already taken because, boy, I can talk for like a while about that one.
Nice.
Yeah, because like we kind of discussed like off screen, I guess, during one of Mike's recordings that like we didn't. My parents didn't really give me, like, we didn't get many games as presents. It was like I would have to make a business case in order to get like a new game, because I remember really wanting Star Fox at one point, and then my parents walked in and saw me rolling credits, and they're like, "You already finished that. Why are you buying that for?" So like the year I got my N64, like it was kind of a surprise. Like my dad came into some money, and all these years later, I guess 22 at this point, as I got it in 97. Like, I'm not sure exactly I'm supposed to even talk about it, so I guess for his sake I won't. But I got an N64, and it was like a big deal. But I was also just turning 13, so I didn't have any money to buy any games. So for all of 97, it was just what's at the video store. So like catching up on like Mario and Star Fox, and then GoldenEye came out. For the entire year, like, I didn't have a game, and then Christmas rolled around, and like I just wanted the Sub-Zero game because I love Mortal Kombat. Like, and Sub-Zero was my favorite character, because like most people, like, they love Mortal Kombat because of like the gore and the fatalities, but me, I was all in on the lore. Like, I just loved the lore in Mortal Kombat. Like, that's what kept me coming back. Like, the connections between the characters and the stories and the rivalries. And, like, Sub-Zero died in the first one, but then his brother came in and his clan turned on him in the third one. Now they're cyborgs. Like, that's cool when you're, like, 11 and 12.
For sure. And you're right. I think a lot of people really dug Mortal Kombat, like you said, for how extreme it seemed at the time. I mean, when Mortal Kombat hit, arcades, there was nothing like it. And then a wave of clones came after it. Some were pretty good, like your Darkstalkers are pretty decent, but like Mortal Kombat clones, like I always think of Time Splitters. Was it Time Splitters? The really hyper-violent one where you could take off people's legs and arms.
It's the Time Killers?
That might be it.
Yeah, I think Time Splitters is like the first-person shooter, like the GoldenEye for guys.
Gotcha. But so you were into the lore. That's interesting because I have basic knowledge of the Mortal Kombat series. I think if you live or work or do anything in the world of video games, you know this series, right? I mean, it's important. But like, the lore has never been something I've ever latched onto. So it's really cool. And that's why when you brought this up, the last time we talked, I was like, wow, this is a really interesting take. So Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero, what was your impressions of it when you first played it? And you played it on the N64, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was really late in the year because I remember picking up like a GamePro magazine during the summer because it had like a mini Star Fox strategy guide. that helped me kind of get through the secret areas. And I was just reading about it, and I was like, oh man, like there's gonna be like a Sub-Zero game. It's gonna be like a side scroller, and when I rented it out, I think I never found it until like December, and it really bothered me because the PlayStation version I saw it everywhere, but like the N64 version, I think I saw it at like a rental store, and then my mom finally let me rent it out because it was pretty far away. It was like the special treat video store. And I brought it home, and clunky might be an easy way to put it, but like the thing, because it's a fighting game that played as a side scroller, but like the thing about like this, because you kind of get experience by doing combos. And the Sub-Zero combo in this is his ground combo from Mortal Kombat 3, which I have drilled into muscle memory because I have a Game Fan Mortal Kombat 3 strategy guide still on my shelf. So I know, like, going by Super Nintendo, it's YYBAX.
Nice.
Just off the, like, that's how I remember it. And that's, like, the combo in this game. So, like, I was really to pick up on that. But also just, like, so you have to use a button to turn around, which is really awkward. And that took some getting used to. And then you get the second level, and it's these weird platforms that's kind of go back and forth in the environment, pseudo 3D, and other ones that kind of go in like a circle, and it takes some getting used to. But what sold my parents on it was that I was like, I can't get past the second level. This is going to give me some time. So that helped me build a case to get it for Christmas that year.
Wow. So the idea that you couldn't just blow through it in 45 minutes like you can with Star Fox, other than that fact and just different, different pathways, but you can get through, you can experience everything Star Fox has to offer in like 2 hours. Like if you really kind of just blew through it, maybe 2.5. But you're right. I played this game. I did the PS1 version. I prepared for this show. I actually did some preparation, and I'd only known of this game through reputation, through different video, content creators who make videos about bad games, Angry Video Game Nerd, etc. It's been sent up a lot, but playing it myself, I don't think it's as terrible as those people say it is. It's just really hard to get used to. And I think you have a fair point. The biggest thing for me is that turning around. Hitting, I think it was L2 to turn around is really, really tricky and tough. Although if you jump over somebody, I believe you will recenter yourself, if that's correct.
I can't remember the last time it's really weird.
Yeah, there are instances where you will turn around and face your opponent. I'm not good at Mortal Kombat. I'm actually terrible. I was a Street Fighter kid during that era. So for me, this game was just, I was on very easy and still having a hard time getting through the second level. It's interesting though. And this was supposed to be a part of a series, right? A series of mythology.
Yeah, and they kind of like, because this is an interesting time in like Midway history, because like their bread and butter was the arcade. Like they made probably billions actually on things like NBA Jam and Mortal Kombat. And then like other people handled home conversions. Like Mortal Kombat 3 on the PlayStation was actually published by Sony. And Acclaim did the Super Nintendo versions. But in kind of the mid to late 90s is when the arcade started to slow down. So Midway started to convert into like doing home games. And that's kind of where they started their sad downfall. So this was kind of like their first foray into that. And you can tell that like they had the ambition to make a Mortal Kombat spin-off, but they didn't exactly know how to make something that wasn't a fighting game.
Yeah. And it's got that weird mix of that side-scrolling and fighting game mechanic, and which doesn't, and again, it's not the first time. I don't know if this predates Batman Forever on the SNES, which of course, well, this has to actually, no, Batman Forever had to come first. Same idea, using fighting game mechanics in a side-scrolling beat-em-up style game. And like you said, those levels where the the running levels where it kind of turns around, that kind of curves around in that 3-dimensional space is extremely disorienting and weird and hard to navigate. That's where I punched out. I could not get past those platforms because they start crumbling and falling and there's wind. I don't know. But I can see why someone would like it because there is a story here. And I think what most people latch onto with this game is the story and those delightfully terrible cutscenes. And they are just delightful. Before this recording, I watched all of them. And while they're cheesy, I don't know. I think they're kind of fun. I'm not going to lie. I really was like, I could see why, again, an 11 or 12-year-old would be really into this. Like, into all this, like, sorcery and ninja and realms. Was that one of the things that really attracted you to this as well when you played it?
Yeah, that was a big bummer because the best way for anyone to experience this game now, there's a fighting game YouTube content creator named Maximilian Dude, and he has a video where he played this from start to finish. It's like a 5-hour video, and like every time, because like something you really miss by playing the N64 game is that when you fall in the pits in the PlayStation version, you just see this hilarious cutaway of Sub-Zero just falling, like, and it is so funny. Like, you cannot help but laugh every single time. And the manual for this game is also something, because this has been the era of, like, manuals still. So you would get a game, and then, like, you would, rent it out, and this had pages upon pages talking about, like, because this was the kind of setup also for Mortal Kombat 4, because the character Quan Chi, like the sorcerer who kind of sets you on this quest, he was kind of the kind of Shang Tsung of Mortal Kombat 4, and this Shinnok, who is like the last boss in this game, that they were all set up here for Mortal Kombat 4, which was, I think, in the arcades at the time. Like, the N64 versions never came out till a year later. And there's like pages of stuff just about like the different realms and the temples that you go to and these characters and their history, and like there's context as to why you have a meter for your ice powers, because Sub-Zero has to pull the moisture from the air.
Okay.
And I love stuff like that.
That's pretty amazing. I'm actually looking at the manual right now. This is something I do like to look at beforehand. There is like 4 pages of mythologies in here. And there are 2 pages of create your own mythologies. So it literally lets you, as the player, make your own story up to go along with all the context that it gives you in the game. That's really fun and cool. There's also, if you want to check it out, there's a series of the cutscenes, cutscene compilation, all the cutscenes of this game remastered to like 1080p and 30 frames per second. It's interesting. I don't know if I love it, but it's neat to watch somebody put a fresh coat of paint on something that's been kind of historically bagged on a bit.
For sure. And like that's the thing about Mortal Kombat now, especially like Mortal Kombat 11 and kind of NetherRealm Studios, who kind of are still like Ed Boon, who co-created Mortal Kombat with John Tobias. Like, he's still there, and the production values in those games are better than a lot of movies. Like, when Mortal Kombat 11 came out, I couldn't afford to get it at the time, but someone did, like, a 4-hour cut of all the cutscenes, and it's, like, a great movie.
Interesting. That does sound pretty neat. That I might have to... Again, Mortal Kombat's one of those things, again, I like it, and I've just never dove into it hard. I haven't played a Mortal Kombat game in... probably since I was in high school at that point. But that is cool that they're maintaining that quality, maintaining that lore, and keeping that story moving for people like you who really dig it and really into it. So if they were to make another Mortal Kombat Mythologies, because they only made the one, Sub-Zero, which character would you love to see brought to that format?
Oh, that's tough. Because I was all about, it's like Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Like, those were kind of my mains. And something that's a real bummer is that they kind of perfected like the Mortal Kombat spin-off like a few years later, because they had this Mortal Kombat Special Forces game like with Jax, and that was like late in the PlayStation. And then they did a game called Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, which was like a co-op God of War clone with Liu Kang and Kung Lao, which is actually pretty beloved. And there was supposed to be a sequel called Fire and Ice with Sub-Zero and Scorpion. So I would have loved to have seen that game get made.
Okay, that'd be pretty cool. I dig that. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, now when we were talking, I think it was a few days ago or whenever it was, but when we were deciding to do this, you said, and I don't want to quote you, so if I quote you incorrectly, please let me know.
Sure.
That you love almost an expert on Mortal Kombat lore. I mean, you've said it here. You love the lore of Mortal Kombat. So what I thought I would do is I thought I'd find a quiz online to quiz you on Mortal Kombat lore to really test this claim that you
with a K.
K. There you go. This claim with a K about your Mortal Kombat chops. Now, it's 10 questions. The site that I have it on is essentially you have to answer all the questions and it gives you the answers. So we'll kind of go through them and then we'll go through the answers one by one. 10 questions, and they have the multiple choice. Now you have the option to just answer the question or get the multiple choice if you feel like you need it. No shame in that. I don't think you're going to need it, but I found the hardest one I could find. I looked at like 10 of them and all of them are like easy, like, oh, what's this person? These actually feel hard. So if you're ready, I think we should jump into this and explore your vast knowledge of Mortal Kombat as I thrust this upon you. I intentionally just meant to surprise you with it. So are you game?
Yeah, I was not expecting this and I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope there's not a lot of the PS2 era of Mortal Kombat because that's like my weakest, but let's go.
All right, let's do it. So number one, see, these are people I've never heard of. Tremor only appeared in which of these games? Now, do you want the multiple choice? Or you just want to nail it?
Multiple choice for that one.
All right. So Mortal Kombat 2, Deadly Alliance, Special Forces, or versus DC Universe?
I'm going to say Special Forces.
All right. Okay, Special Forces. All right, next. Aside from Shang Tsung, which other character can consume souls?
Oh. What's the multiple choice on that one?
Sure. Quan Chi, Shao Kahn, Ermac, or nobody?
I know Ermac is made out of souls, so I'm going to say Quan Chi.
All right, Quan Chi. Number 3. Which of the cyborg characters is still barely a human?
Still barely human.
So Cyrax, Sector, Smoke, or Sub-Zero?
That's a weird question. Because, like, depending on... Like Smoke turns back into a human in Mortal Kombat 3, and they reconvert Cyrax in the new ones. So I'm going to say Sector because he's the most, like, drinking the Kool-Aid.
Nice. All right, excellent. Number 4. Which of the following characters is not from Earthrealm originally? Scorpion, Bo Rai Cho, okay, Sub-Zero, or Cabal?
Not from Earthrealm?
Not from Earthrealm originally.
Oh, that's Bo Rai Cho. I think he's from Outworld.
All right, excellent. Bo Rai Cho it is. What is Scorpion's original name when he was still alive?
Hanzo Hasashi.
Hanzo Hasashi, all right. You sounded very confident on that, so I'll accept that as truth. What were Cyrax and Sector called before they were known by their names today?
Oh no.
Okay, I'll give you the 4 because this is weird and I don't understand. It doesn't. I almost feel like joke answers. Wendell and Grendel, Ketchup and Mustard, Blood and Acid, Razor and Slash.
Yeah, those are ones I never... I'm going to go with Razor and Slash, as I kind of know their designations like LK249, but not like their code names.
Yeah, I wonder if those are like development names or something. That's weird. All right, well, we will see how it goes. That question literally makes no sense and sounds like a troll question. All right. Which fighter had their name changed since the Mortal Kombat series began? Sindel, Raiden, sorry, Stryker, or Shao Kahn?
Had their name changed?
So which fighter had their name changed since the Mortal Kombat series began?
I'm gonna say Raiden because possibly they used to spell it with a Y. Maybe they changed it to an I.
Okay. It's a good thought process. I dig. Okay. Which character was only shown in the PSP version of Mortal Kombat Armageddon?
Oh, what are the options?
Meat, Jarek, Moloch, or Chameleon with a K? Because Mortal Kombat.
I'm gonna say Chameleon. That's one of the PS2 ones that I'm not that well versed on.
So you're going to say Chameleon?
Yeah.
All right. What name was given to the person fighting Blaze in the background of the pit in Mortal Kombat 2? There's Hammer, Hornbuckle, Wayne, or Crash. Also with a K because Mortal Kombat.
I think it was a Crash. I don't even know that one.
I told you, this was literally the hardest one. So none of these even make sense to me. What name? It's like the same question though. What name that fans gave to the Blaze when they saw him in the background of the pit in Mortal Kombat 2? All right. So I don't know. I think it's the same question. I didn't read all of these through. The options for this one are Flame, Torch, Hellboy, or they originally called him Blaze.
I guess Blaze. I guess.
Sure.
I don't know.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Let's submit the answers and let's see how you did. Right. And doesn't give you an actual, I guess at the bottom. All right. So number one, the question was Tremor only appeared in which of these games? You answered Special Forces. That was correct.
Nice.
Tremor was one of the bosses in Mortal Kombat Special Forces. He was going to feature in Mortal Kombat Trilogy, but was replaced with another character. All right, number two. Aside from Shang Tsung, which other character can consume souls? You answered Quan Chi. That was incorrect. The correct answer was Shao Kahn. It is mentioned in Mortal Kombat Annihilation that Shao Kahn can also consume souls. This ability has not been mentioned in any of the games. So Mortal Kombat Annihilation, that was one of the movies?
That was the second terrible. Oh, come on.
Hey, listen, I did not realize this was going to be movie related too. All right, that's cheap. These questions are a little cheap. I picked one that was brutal, but hey, interesting tidbits are going to come out of this, if nothing else. Number three, which of the cyborg characters is still barely a human? You answered Sector. The correct answer was Cyrax. It is shown in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance that Cyrax has a human head inside of his helmet from his alternate costume. This is also shown in one of the loading screens of the game.
Oh, now the question makes sense.
See, these questions are worded very strangely. Clearly, professionals are not doing this. Number four, which of the following characters is not from Earthrealm? You answered Bo Rai Cho, which is correct. I should put a little ding sound effect in here. I'm not going to. That requires too much effort. It is revealed in Mortal Kombat Deception that Bo Rai Cho can only train Earthrealm warriors to compete in the Mortal Kombat tournament. He can't compete himself because he is originally from Outworld. How many realms are there in this universe?
Well, there is Outworld, Earthrealm, Edenia, which I think was destroyed because that's where Katana and Sindel are from, and the Netherrealm, which is essentially Hell.
Okay.
And then I guess versus DC Universe, if you want to count that one.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, DC, for sure. All right, very cool. Number five, the question was, what is Scorpion's original name when he was still alive? You very confidently answered Hanzo Hasashi, and that is correct. Very nice. He went by the name Scorpion after he was killed by Sub-Zero the Elder. So I'm assuming that's older Sub-Zero or original Sub-Zero.
He's the one in Mythologies who eventually they retconned to be the character Noob Saibot.
Oh, okay. All right. Very cool. I remember Noob Saibot. Number six, the question was, what were Cyrax and Sector called before they were known by their names today? Both of us befuddled by this one. We just said Razor and Slash. They actually sound like Ninja Turtle, villains, only because I'm playing Cowabunga Collection and it's so great.
Same.
The original answer was actually, the correct answer is Ketchup and Mustard. Funny but true. Cyrax and Sector were originally called Ketchup and Mustard until they found a name for them. They, I guess, being the developers. This is mentioned in the character card for Cyrax in the bonus disc for Mortal Kombat Deception, which also contains the first Mortal Kombat game. Really, Quiz? Really? Hey, it said it was hard. Do any of those words make sense to you? Because they don't to me.
I never, the PS2 era is kind of where I bounce because they got a little bit complicated. Like, so my Mortal Kombat love is like 1 through possibly 4, and then the newer ones.
Okay.
So that
whole middle section's a little bit of a dark spot.
In Mortal Kombat 9, they even made a game that kind of went back to the original because they realized that the story had gotten out of hand.
The story got bizarre. All right, and number 7, which fighter had their name changed since the Mortal Kombat series began? You answered Raiden or Raiden, and that was the correct answer. In Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, his name was changed from Raydn to Raiden. Yeah, that's you nailed it for
My
both.
Logic was sound.
Your logic was sound. Number 8, which character was only shown in the PSP version of Mortal Kombat Armageddon? You answered Chameleon with a K, which was correct. Chameleon with a K replaced Chameleon with a C in the PSP version of Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Chameleon and Chameleon with a C were both secret characters in Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
I knew that much.
Okay. Cool. Well, you nailed that one. Excellent. 2 more to go. What name was given to the person fighting Blaze in the background of the pit in Mortal Kombat 2? You answered Crash. That was incorrect. The correct answer was Hornbuckle. Fans over time started calling the character Hornbuckle over time. Oh, clearly this person just ran out of juice in his or her writing here. The name is related to a Midway employee whose last name was Hornbuckle.
Oh.
Okay, and then finally, number 10, which again, the wording of this question, so we're not even going to count this. Our answer was incorrect, but the question was what name that fans gave to the Blaze when they saw him in the background of the pit in Mortal Kombat 2. They originally called him Blaze. The correct answer was Torch. Many fans came to know him as Torch when they first saw him in Mortal Kombat 2. Creators brought him back in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance as a hidden character.
Okay.
Oof. All right. So you scored a 5 out of 10. I'm just going to say I'm going to say 5 out of 9. That last question was ridiculously worded. No one had a chance. Average score is only a 6. So listen, you nailed a really challenging quiz. Well done. Well done. You got 5 out of 10 right on something most people would have received a 2 out of 10. So well done. I think that's a win. It's a net victory.
Yeah.
For you.
Same.
You're like, thank God, that's over.
No, that was a lot of fun.
And that takes us to the end of this episode. See, easiest thing you'll do all day. Thank you so much for everybody who listened to this episode. If you enjoyed this, then there's a main podcast I think you'll be rather fond of. And if you're here, you likely listen to that anyway, so I'm just kind of blowing smoke. Check me out on Twitter at @gamerlooks4040, Linktree in the bio. All the podcasty stuff is there. So if you do podcasty things, that's where the podcasty stuff exists. Blair, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it. And until next time, just continue being awesome.